Good morning. Welcome to Saturday Morning Coffee. I'm Lance McKinnon, and I'm here today with my special co-host, Sherry Petoni. Good morning, Sherry. How are you doing?
Good morning, Lance. I'm doing good. It's a good Saturday morning. Nice hot cup of coffee on a cold day.
Absolutely. Enjoying my Fifth Acres coffee from Good Brothers Cafe, Midtown Harrisburg. If you have not looked it up, definitely make sure you look up Good Brothers Cafe in Harrisburg, Pennsylvania. So, Sherry, I'm so excited that you are here as a special guest, a former guest on Saturday Morning Coffee, even at that. So,
Yes, thank you for having me.
I know, but here you are again. You just can't get enough of us. That is absolutely wonderful. So,
That's all right, Lance.
is it just you and I on here today, or do we schedule somebody?
We did schedule somebody, Lance. We are very honored to talk to Michelle Shirley, and she is the CEO and Chief Heart Officer of Be Strong International, and she's doing some really good things, so we're excited to talk to her.
Good morning, Michelle. How are you doing?
Good morning. I am great.
Great.
I'm
Thank
great.
you for taking the time out of your amazing, crazy, busy schedule to be on Saturday Morning Coffee. I know that you're absolutely making a huge difference in the world and an impact on all these kids. And I'm not going to steal your thunder or anything else like that, but I'll let you go ahead and dive into it. So you just tell us how it all started and what we're doing and how we're doing it.
Yeah, well, first, thanks so much for having me. It's amazing just to be interviewed by you and your team. And so thank you so much. I first want to say that Be Strong really actually started out of a teacher's heart. Um, she remembered that when she first started teaching, she, was pregnant as a teenager, and she went through a lot. She, back in the 70s, 60s, 70s, you couldn't just say that you were pregnant at school. I mean, it was a big deal, so she ended up actually having to go to what they call adult education at the time. It was taboo for her to walk around with a belly during the school day. So it's not like now where we have the shows that are 16 and pregnant, and these people are getting paid to showcase their lives. Very different, very taboo. So she went through that, and then of course she ended up getting married. She ended up having 3 children. And she just had this desire to become a school teacher from the age of 9. So once she graduated from Florida International University and started teaching, after some different career moves, she started teaching. She saw the same thing, this pattern, right, of young people not making the best decisions, not really being focused. Once they got into a relationship very early, it was really hard to pull them back and get them focused on their academics. And as a work experience teacher, she saw that that was even affecting, the fact that they couldn't even get employment. They were so caught up in, the relationships, friends, skipping school, all sorts of things that they were failing her class. So that led her in 1992 to start Be Strong International. And today this year, we're celebrating actually 30 years.
Wow.
30 years.
Congratulations.
That's amazing. Sort of 30 years. Wow, that is absolutely wonderful. And
Yeah.
I kind of go back. I was listening to what you were saying about, it wasn't, it was taboo to be pregnant back in the day. And now it's kind of like a cool thing, but it's not
Yeah.
a cool thing
Yeah.
to a certain degree. But, again, society is really feeding off of it,
Yeah.
and driving it. And there's a lot of responsibilities to that,
Absolutely. Like, well, it's changed, right? Everything is reality TV, right? Fixing my door, fixing my dog, So it's just one of those things where you wonder where the line is going to stop, because kids are really, watching these shows, and are thinking like, oh, this could be my life. And until they experience really the setbacks, and the obstacles that they have to face. So, it started from there because she was a teen mom, but we've evolved a whole lot since then. So today we're more focused on the family, right? Healing and mending the broken family. And we realized that the family, of course, consists of individuals, but these individuals are actually emotionally broken, socially, inept, just spiritually, in a low place, mentally, just really, distraught. And there's so many things happening in our world with families that we decided to teach wholeness and healthy relationship education and giving people tools and resources so that they could stop those negative patterns, right? So that they can change the generation that would be coming behind them. And, for us, a generation is 25 years. So if we can get a young person or even an adult to, to really focus on where they are emotionally, strengthen them, give them the tools that they need to change these negative patterns, to break them, then we're really, we're on our way to a stronger, stronger family unit and then stronger communities.
Yeah, because I think some people, because I do a lot of inner city mentoring as well too, and one of the things that it's always mentioned is I can't get out. I can't get out. I am looking at my surroundings. I can't get out. You can get out if you want to. You can be that blueprint, as I already spoken with the previous guest that's coming on the show. You can be that blueprint. You can break that generational curse if you want to get out. And what Be Strong International is doing is providing that opportunity for people to get out, and that's truly amazing. And
Yeah.
I like, and now mentioned the fact that what was the difficulties when, because schooling 2 years ago to now has changed dramatically. We're
Mhm.
seeing a lot of difference in the kids today wanting to learn and grow.
They definitely want to learn and grow. But there are so many more challenges, right, that we're facing. You've heard about the release of that whistleblower from Facebook, right? And all of the statistics on what, basically young people are seeing and how it's affecting them emotionally, right? So you have that, you have social media, you just have all of these distractions. But at the same time, young people are hurting and they're hungry and they're interested in listening, but you have to engage them in the right way, right? You can't use any more kind of like the old school methods of just like, yeah, I'm just going to sit here and bring in this big fat book and lecture you guys on decision making. You've got
Yeah,
to be a bit more interactive and just really energetic and creative. But they want it and they actually need it. And I think as they go through the experiences, middle school, high schoolers, even college age, once they recognize the pain that they're actually in, they're listening. And we
mhm,
teach parents that too. They're listening.
yeah.
They're
So,
listening.
Sherry, do you have anything to add into that?
Yeah, I was just curious, how do you identify the kids that are ready to hear that message and be able to, be part of the organization and make that type of commitment? Because, it is a commitment to be able to move through that, but there are some that are so hungry. Can you tell the difference between those who are just really ready to latch on?
Absolutely. I mean, you always have those star kids who you're just like, wow, you not only have you latched on, but you're coming back, right? And now you want to be a volunteer because you see what's happened to you. You see how you're thinking differently. You see the rewards, right, of making better decisions. So we have that. But the way that we do it is it's a couple of ways. One is we will pitch to the schools our program. And really, the principals and the counselors are sort of the gatekeepers. They have to say yes, whether or not they're willing to let us in. And when they let us in, then we'll serve, classes at a time for a certain number of weeks during the school day. The schools will call us too, because we've served them so many times before, and we'll just come back year after year and keep serving, their population. But then we have after school programs where parents kind of more so, they'll fill out an application and say, hey, I really want this. Can you tell me more? We'll give them an orientation, and then we'll be able to serve the kids, sort of that way. And that's been helpful too, because we get the parents sort of like buy-in, and we're with the kids after school for a longer period of time to work with them. But we really don't discriminate against, anyone as far as programming. If we come in, we always know, and the facilitators know, if you just touch one, right? You've made a difference. If you can change one person's generational, pattern, that's what we're looking for. So there's really no, I would say, set hard on, criteria, other than they're a young person, most likely in middle school or high school, and they're interested in being a part of the program and committed to attending the sessions.
Oh, that's beautiful. That's amazing.
Yeah,
What a gift to those kids that they're able to have somebody to go to latch onto it, because it is work. I mean, I'm a self-professed self-improvement junkie. So really truly make those incremental changes in yourself, it's a lot. And sometimes you just need that person to just come in and say, I believe in you. So
absolutely. I mean, that's really the reason why I'm here. And, we make jokes about it. Like my gravestone will probably be outside the organization front lawn, it's just because it changed my life in such a way. My parents were immigrant parents, they came here, of course, legally, but they came here with nothing. And, they worked so hard to provide for my sister and I. And I saw over the years their marriage decline, and it really became a domestic violence situation where they ended up having to break up. And that was so heart-wrenching for me as a young person. It's not like, I had everything that I wanted. I had everything that I needed. My dad worked for the airlines. I would travel. I mean, I had an amazing life, and only to realize later that they would separate, and me feeling like I had to choose which parent that I would have to live with. Those things are very traumatic when you're talking about, a middle school aged young girl. And I remember praying, because we were a family of faith. And I remember praying and just asking God, like, just for three things. Like, one was just like, I do want to be a singer. I really want to sing.
You can sing today.
Yeah, that was one. I didn't get that one. I only have my shower voice. But the second one was, if you could just put my parents back together, like life would just be so much better. Like, please just let them be together, And then the last one, it was really, really weird. It was just like, give me wisdom. I just want wisdom. If I have wisdom, then I can make the right choices, and wisdom maybe can give me the family that I want. And today, that's where I am. When I landed at Be Strong, I had no relationship really tools at all. Like, I had graduated from college. I got a scholarship to University of Miami, went on for my master's degree, and I was achieving all these amazing goals that people will high five you and say, oh, great, you finished your degree. Where are you going to work? What's going to be your dream career? And yet in my personal life, it was deteriorating. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, it was insane. The dating relationships and the drama and the breakups and just not knowing my own self-worth was causing this discrepancy between the very things that I was trying to achieve, and it happens to people all the time. And they don't realize that the two go together. So when I landed at Be Strong and I start hearing facilitators going out into the schools and saying, you are enough, and, being content, right? And, setting boundaries for your relationships. What are your hard no's? I didn't know what that was, and I was in my late 20s. I'm like, I need this. you know?
This is good stuff. This is good.
Yeah. And I mean, today I'm happily married, but I mean, it took work, and it took just the determination to say, you know what, I'm gonna take a chance. I'm gonna take a chance on myself, and I'm gonna take a chance on this organization that I just walked into not knowing, and try this out. And of course, among other things, I do have this wonderful marriage today, but I'm so thankful for Be Strong. And we see it now. We have marriage programs and so forth, and we can get into that, but amazing.
Well, that is a lot, and you hit the nail right on the head. It's knowing our self-worth. It's really knowing that balance. And I always say this is that, most people seem great, but they're always carrying that invisible backpack. We're all carrying that invisible backpack, and I'm glad that you were able to find yours, to fill it up, to be able to feed. And I say you're planting seeds into the next generation that that we might not see the harvest, but that you're planting seeds. And then when it will come to fruition, hopefully you're still around, for it, but you've already seen that. But
Oh
it,
yeah.
it, it takes a lot when you want to be a mentor, because you have to meet the kids at their level. And as an older generation, like you said, that big textbook, sit down, try to teach, that didn't work for me back then. So, I know, but I was more like, hey, you got to meet me where I'm at, because that big textbook, I come from a broken home. I need to feel that reassurance in my life, that you might think I was a great athlete, I was successful and a pretty smile and all that, but yet inside I was broken because I needed that self reassurance, and back in the
Yeah.
day, we didn't have programs like that, and as you
Yeah.
said earlier, it was taboo, to even mention, hey, I'm feeling this way. But one of the
Hmm.
things that I express now to the kids now is, you know, if you need help, ask for it, and it's okay to ask for it. It's actually kind of cool now to ask for help.
Yeah.
You don't have to carry the burdens of everything on yourself. And that's really what I had to say about that.
Yeah, I mean, I think too, Lance, like she hit the nail on the head too when she said, I didn't have those tools. I didn't have them. And there's so many of us walking around without the tools. And if we're just given the tools to have that self-talk with ourselves, to move ourselves beyond ourselves, to get ourselves out of our own heads, and we just say to them, it's okay, you just don't have the tools, and we're here to give you those tools. So I imagine that must be so satisfying and rewarding for you when you see someone move through the process.
Oh man, every time. Like we have a marriage program, and for about 7 to 8 weeks we walk couples through communication skills, the intimacy, and so many things. And my husband and I went through it just to kind of see, and we saw ourselves. I mean, we're going on married, 12 years. And my husband says to me in one of the sessions, he's like, one of the things that I would like to talk to you about is I don't like when you stay at work so late, because the drive is so far that I'm worried about, where you are and what's going to happen to you, on the road.
Wow.
Such a long drive. Now, mind you, I've been staying late for years because it's just like, how can I not stay late? They're like, so, it's so much to do, right?
Yeah, there's not enough
Sometimes
hours.
right. Sometimes when everybody's gone is when I actually get to like think for a second, and wrap up my day. And he says that to me, and it was just like, you love me. Oh, it was the cutest thing. And then it was funny because the next day I was like, okay, you know what? I remember, I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna not stay as late. Like, I'm not gonna stay as late. And something like that is such, it seems minor, but to
Right.
have that time to spend with the facilitator that's asking you, share something that you think you've been wanting to say that you haven't been able to say. Just being able to sit there, because as a young couple, you're always moving, especially if you got small children. Like who's picking up the kids? Who's got dinner? Who's gonna wash the clothes? Tomorrow you're gonna go to the ceremony. This week you're gonna go. It's so much that by the time you lay down in the bed at night, you're just like, "Whew, all right, you okay? You okay?
Yeah, I'm
All
good.
right."
I'll see you tomorrow.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
I'll see you tomorrow
You-
for coffee.
You've got to
Yes.
schedule like intimate time, like tonight, because if it's not tonight, tomorrow I've got an event. Next week I've got, I'm traveling. It's just,
No,
And what's great is,
when you say that too, because I talk with people and I'm like, hey, put it in your calendar. We're like, put it in your calendar. Make a date night. Because you're running around going crazy as an adult. Because you're thinking about work, you're thinking about jobs, you're thinking about getting XYZ food on a plate, who's shopping, gas, the weather and all that stuff. So I think, what Be Strong is doing, not just teaching the younger generation, but it's also changing the older generation too, because what happens, we get stuck in our ways. Well, and we say, well, we've been doing it this way for 30 years, sitting at the dinner table and nobody says a word, and you just eat and, and time just goes by. And we have
yeah.
to have those conversations.
And
We
I,
always
I
need to be
love,
growing.
yeah. And I love what you said, and it's so key. Being stuck. Being stuck is one of, I think it's just the most deadliest thing that can ever happen to a human being, like just being mentally stuck. I mean, think about being sick, right? And you can't physically like get out of your bed and do the things you want to do, the places where your mind goes because you're used to being active. And just, I mean, even if you're not like, I'm not talking about like deathly ill, but just, having the flu and being in the bed for 3 days, where you go mentally is insane, right? You're just like, oh my God, if I could just, some orange juice, some soup, something, all the things that you've been, think about, and the emotions that come with just being ill. Imagine like people who aren't processing that they're actually stuck, like they are making the same relationship decisions over and over and over again, and the consequences are there and they are not. And I would say one of the key words that I use is, I think sometimes it has to do with exposure is one, right? Knowing that someone else is going to show you a different way, right? They expose you to something new, right? Because we work with, kids that have never even gone, maybe 20 miles outside their apartment complex, right? So exposure is one, but then there's a humility
Mm-hmm.
where you have to say, I need help.
like a
I don't,
surrender.
yeah. And I'm so glad you said that, because I know that you said that word for a reason, because I am in that moment of life right now where I'm just like, okay, um,
Absolutely.
and yeah, absolutely. And so it starts with humility, and we've done professional development, believe it or not, even for teams, because our team is so amazing and we work together so well. They call us like a small army. And we've done so much that we could not do anything without humble team members
Mm-hmm.
that are willing to pivot, that are willing to
Yes.
say, I'm sorry, that are willing to say, hey, you're better at me. You're better than me. It's just amazing. So it works in every facet of life.
That's beautiful. I always think of it as moving from egocentric to heart-centric. And if we can move beyond that ego where we sort of get ourselves in our own way, and then as you're doing, teaching the families, it's not just the child, it's also the whole family that gets involved. And there's major changes that can happen when you're dealing with at that level. That's so amazing.
Yep.
I was wondering now, I know you're located in Florida, but do you offer this, like these online classes where people can zoom in or anything else like that? So we can have our followers, reach out to Be Strong International to where they can develop these strengths that you're doing.
Absolutely. So right now we offer the marriage classes are online via Zoom and the parenting is online via Zoom. With the youth, it would be best or preferred that a school contact us so that we can set that up, because the way that we would have to do that and just make sure things are safe for the youth are different.
Mhm.
But for the parenting and the marriage, definitely they can reach out to us. We have a little, robot on our website that just says, ask us, questions, and they can send an inquiry and we can set up a time to speak with them if they're serious.
And what is that website?
It's bestrongintl.org. So international for short, bestrongintl.org, org.
Because I'm thinking of so many different things that like I want to just like jump on a plane and come down there and
You
get
should.
and get. I know because it's so much warmer there than it is in Pennsylvania. Believe me, that's why we're all bundled up and you got the sun coming through and everything else. But I might just take you up on that because I love what you're doing and it's amazing. It's like you're bringing in not just the child, but you're also bringing in the family, and those two go hand in hand. And one thing that I have learned and has been a roadblock that I've overcome and still continues to be is like you have a child who wants to change, but you run into that parental roadblock, because they're stuck but the child wants to change, and that's a very demanding, daunting task to
Absolutely.
overcome because you can't override the parent, but
Mhm.
you can only feed the child, so
Yep.
much. But what Be Strong International is doing is bringing one cohesive unit together, and
Yep.
that's only going to help it grow more and more. Absolutely
Yeah.
wonderful.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
I mean, and it's warm in Florida temperature wise, but it sounds like there's a lot of warmth coming out of Be Strong too. And I love that you added to your title the Chief Heart Officer, because that's exactly what that is. It's all speaking from the heart. It's working from the heart. And it's I can't imagine it must be so rewarding for you to be part of something like this.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I've got these little YouTube videos that I started of just, inspirational words from the chief heart officer, like about 20, 30 seconds to a minute long, depending on, and it's just, again, those encouraging words, just things that people don't typically think about that they might need a reminder for.
What's
And they
the
may not
YouTube
have.
channel? What's that YouTube
It's
channel?
still Be Strong INTL.
Be Strong
I do
Until.
things that,
But
yeah, I do things that Be
And
Strong
you said
INTL.
something really great, Michelle, is that, and it's one thing I always tell people, everybody has a testimony and something, we got to go through a test to get to something, but we all have something to offer somebody. So even just like, those short clips that you're doing
Yeah.
might be just enough to
Mhm.
change the mindset of somebody going forward, and people look forward to those probably
Yeah.
every day. They might not hit like or
Yeah.
share it or anything else like that, but people are watching it.
Mhm.
I put a lot of friendly stuff, spiritual stuff, kindness stuff out, and then there are times when I need to take a break because I just have that
Yeah.
that balance, and then I'll get a silent message, on the phone. Lance, are you okay? I'm fine. Why? "Well, we haven't seen you post nothing or anything." I'm like, man, I'm taking a break. I'm like, but still, people are watching,
Yeah.
and kids are always watching you too. And
Yeah.
when you as a mentor, you know, verbally or non-verbally, that child is watching you show up. You might not work directly with them every single day, but there might be something that draws them to the spirit, and and they see the energy that you're bringing in into the shop, into the area every day, and they're like, you know, I want to be just like him. And but you
Mhm.
might not even know it. You might not even know it because, and that's why I always say, you have to conduct yourself on the court and off the court as a gentleman and as a woman, in all facets of life, because you don't know who's watching and who you're going to impact, and you don't want to do anything to regress anybody.
Absolutely, absolutely. Yeah. And we take great pride in the fact that we just there's this, like this warmth that comes from our facilitators, from our entire team. I remember one of our board members said, like, the moment that she walked into our office, she came to our office for like a monthly, sort of like a luncheon. And I met her and I said, hey, and she stuck her hand out as a banker would. And I just said, and this is pre-COVID, obviously, but I said, we don't shake hands, we give hugs. And she's like, okay, you know? And she said she was sold ever since. Like, where do you go and people say they don't shake hands, we give hugs.
Yeah.
It was so cool. So yeah, that's who we are. That's who we plan to be. We're really big in just working with people, and it's all about the issues of the heart. Yeah, if we can change the heart, we can change someone's attitude and then the behavior, and then they can have real joy.
Well, the
Mhm.
snowball effect. And I know that you're extremely busy, and that's a great way to probably end this segment. I think we could probably sit and talk for hours on this, but I know that you're extremely busy, and you got your husband and the kids and all that other too, and it's Saturday. So I don't want to take up any more of your time, but I want to say God bless you, and and the Be Strong
Yes.
International, and what you're doing is absolutely amazing. And it's truly an honor to have you on here as a guest, and watch Be Strong International grow, to watch you grow. And then for all of our followers to look up Be International and get involved, and take
Yes.
something from it. And if you're a mentor or anybody who wants to get involved, something like that, a coach, you know, you know, check it out. You might just learn something. You might learn something from those clips. But thank you
Yeah.
very much for being on today.
Thank you. Thank you for
Yes.
having me. This was so
Thank
much fun.
you.
Thank
Thank you,
you.
guys.
Bye bye.
Okay.
Cheers.